I want you to read this. I'm sure you would have heard about it. French city allows burkinis in swimming pools in controversial change. So burkinis in this particular French city are now allowed, and there was a narrow vote. It came down. So do you want to read this?
Yeah, sure. The French city of Grenoble on Monday authorized the wearing of the so-called burkini by Muslim women in state-run swimming pools, reigniting one of France's most contentious debates on religious dress. The all-in-one swimsuit used by some Muslim women to cover their bodies and hair while bathing has become a controversial talking point during the holiday season in recent years. Seen as a symbol of creeping Islamism, by its critics and an affront to France's secular traditions, many right-wingers and some feminists would like to ban it outright. It is
some feminists.
Yeah.
This is an interesting development. Right wingers, yeah, screw them, and some feminists. Maybe French feminists are a bit
more,
well,
yeah, maybe they're a bit more woke in that sense. That's mad because my instinct would to think feminists would say, yeah, to each their own. They're more than happy, should be allowed to wear bikinis, right? That's their way of expressing themselves. But yeah, maybe France it plays out differently. It is prohibited in most state-run pools for hygiene, not religious reasons, where strict swimwear rules apply to all, including men who are required to wear tight-fitting trunks. Oh, I would not go there. I can't.
Speedos.
I don't like seeing men in tight-fitting
Speedos.
Yeah, okay. The move applies across the board, meaning men will be able to wear long shorts. Oh, cool. Okay. And women can also bathe topless in the cities and alpine city pools.
I'm going there.
Yeah. Ours is like fast train.
I'm going there in my Speedos. Sorry, that's why I said Speedos are allowed, because everywhere I go, Speedos are not allowed.
Oh, really? Good. I like that rule.
I think everyone likes that. Nobody wants to see a man in Speedos.
No, thank you.
Board shorts.
Grenoble's mayor, Eric Piolle, one of the country's highest profile Green politician who leads a broad left-wing coalition at the city council, has championed the move but run into a fierce campaign of opposition. He managed to rally enough votes at a city council meeting to approve the measure, despite not having the support of his own EELV party, which distanced itself from the measure. Mm-hmm. It was carried by the slimmest of margins, with 29 votes for, 27 against, and 2 abstentions after 2.5 hours.
So these guys screwed it. So these guys screwed it up. So if they had gone against, there would have been a hung parliament.
For bikinis, yeah. So they had a 2.5 hour tense debate, and this was what was said. All we want is for women and men to be able to dress how they want, Piolle told broadcaster RMC. Opponents see it differently, including the influential conservative head of the wider Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes region, Laurent Wauquiez, who has promised to withdraw funding from the city. I am convinced that what Mr. Piolle is defending is a dreadful dead end for our country, Wauquiez said at the beginning of May, accusing him of doing deals with political Islam to buy votes. Okay, interesting.
That's a loaded statement.
Very loaded. At the council meeting, the former right-wing mayor, Alain Carignan, urged a local referendum on the issue. You can't force through such a sensitive subject. You have no legitimacy. You weren't elected for that. This is a harm to Republican values. The regional spat has put the burkini back in the headlines nationally, animating French talk shows and the political class ahead of the parliamentary elections next month. The issue of how people dress for the pool touches on highly sensitive topics in France, including fears about the influence of Islam and threats to the country's cherished secularism. It seems to me that the mayor doesn't realize the harm he's doing to our Republican values, Prisca Thévenot, a spokesman for President Emmanuel Macron's party, told Radio J.
Hold on for a sec. So a spokesperson for President Emmanuel Macron's party is also not happy with this?
Yeah.
Because this person is obviously against this overturn, and she's saying that these people don't understand their Republican values, i.e. aggressive secularism, i.e. no burkinis. Yeah, am I right?
Yeah, from what I can gauge, from what I've read.
So, okay.
So yeah, this would be breaking the rules to respond to political desires based on religion, she added. Okay, yeah, so that's her her line of thinking for that. So then there were attempts by several local mayors in the south of France to ban the burkini on Mediterranean beaches in the summer of 2016, and that's what kicked off the first firestorm around this bathing suit issue.
Yeah. When they were giving fines to women in burkinis.
Well, but listen, so the next line is interesting as well, because the rules introduced after a string of terror attacks in France were eventually struck down as discriminatory. 3 years later, a group of women in Grenoble caused a splash. That was a great use of language by forcing. Sorry, great. Caused a splash by forcing their way into a pool. Oh, they forced their way into a pool with burkinis, leading the prime minister at the time to insist that the rules should be followed. So my burkini, my choice, is what they did to cause a splash.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. French sports brand Decathlon also found itself at the center of a similar row in 2019 when it announced plans to sell a sports hijab. Oh yeah, do you remember the Nike hijab as well that came out, enabling Muslim women to cover their head while running? Grenoble will not be the first to change its rules. However, okay, I think we
it's almost finished, I think.
Oh, okay, so a women's collective known as Les Hijabeuses launched a legal challenge to the rules in November last year. Wow, so that's you know how you guys have got the anti-apostasy squad to deal with here. Here you've got the hijabi / burkini squad to deal with in France.
But I don't know about your view, so I'll just quickly shed light on that. I think, and I know things never remain the same. So Muslims have been told in France that, look, you got to respect our values because there's creeping Sharia, there's creeping Islamism. There are no-go zones in France. I've seen that footage on BBC in Paris, where this white journalist, I think she was British maybe, or maybe French, I can't remember. Well, I can't remember. So she went there to this place, and there were only Muslim shops there. And this guy said, "What are you doing here in the skirt? This is a Muslim area. You can't come here." And so they were like, "Well, this is Paris. We can be here." So they need to be shut down as well. They need to be told, sorry, there is a code, there is a constitution. I don't know if France does have a constitution, but well, yeah, they do. So they have a constitution, so you need to follow and respect that. But then sometimes we need to make sure we don't go too hard where we actually, can't justify. I always thought that this burkini or burqa ban was always against the dress code, individualism, secularism, and individual choices, libertarianism as well. I didn't think that would. I still can't see it. Laicite is not enough. Yes, you could do it as a you could enforce it in your government building or as a dress code as an employer, but in public places, in parks or in. But I guess the swimming pools could say that we're operating as private entities. But again, like you said, what did you say in England? What do you have? The Equal Opportunity or something? Not
Equality Act.
Equality Act, where you can't discriminate on the basis of, you can't refuse services on the basis of
religion,
so and so, race, religion, whatever. So, that just never. I could never understand that. Yes, I don't like hijabs. I don't like burqas. But I can't see that how rationally, through our liberal values, we can force someone not to wear it. We can educate them. We can talk about it. We should be allowed to talk about it. And also at the same time, we should be saying that, sorry, you don't want to see it. Yeah, these women can be right next to them topless, like if I want to. So that, I think Muslims will learn that because, for example, they actually made another provision as well, and that is women can be topless in this swimming pools.
To like balancing act,
like a balancing act. But again, I don't know if a lot of Habibs would go there or not. Abdullahs would be like, they would love to go there, but their wives would be like, "Hey, hang on, are you telling me to wear the
down
bikini?"
They're on their way right now as we speak, Horace.
They'd be like, "What's going on in your speedos?"
That's why they've allowed long shorts again.
When I went to they have underwears of iron. When I went to Czech Republic, they had the chastity belt. I don't know if that's what it was. I actually saw that in the
How
torture museum.
inconvenient of a thing is that, though?
They had a lock. They had a place to put a padlock on it.
But it's really heavy as well, because it's made of like that coppery
iron
thing, right?
Yeah,
so what
bronze or whatever it was. Yeah. But I saw it. It had a hole at the back.
What for?
To poop. Of course, she's gonna poop. And it had a little slit at the front for peeing. And and he would lock her vagina up, basically, the husband, and would go on wars or whatever. 3 months, 4 months he's away. She can't take it off. If he comes back with the lock is broken, game over.
Virgin Mary, who broke your lock when you said you conceived Jesus? It wasn't the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, but Nuria, can you imagine this? Not only the fact that this is so humiliating, insulting, fair enough by our standards, but how uncomfortable would it be, and how filthy would it be? Because I don't think the hole was about this big, so I don't think the whole thing would fit through. So,
and how do you clean up after an operation like that? And also, like, what about the months where you're menstruating? How do you deal? Oh, it's just horrible, the thought of it. But listen, even with this burkini thing, look, again, because I agree with you completely, because again, like when you talk about burkini, you're thinking about this as a woman who is, she's a grown up woman. She has the right to wear whatever she wants. I can't take that away from women everywhere, and I can't choose a stance that deprives women of being able to do that. For me, it's also the fact that I think about what would taking the opposite stance even really do. What would be the motive behind that? Because as far as where burkinis go, and this hijabi gang who are trying to assert their right, the women's gang of hijabis, this is one of the few things that Muslim women would ordinarily not be allowed to participate in and enjoy. Something as simple as swimming or feeling the ocean waves amongst your body, and doing that with your family in tow. So sharing that moment with your husband or your kids or, whatever. So this is giving them that actual extension to partake in these activities where ordinarily they'd be shut off from. So for me, if this gets more Muslim women to join and partake in a public, healthy, social, leisurely life and activities, by all means allow burkinis to be worn. Obviously, you establish hygiene standards and you consider what issues there are, if any. I don't really know the ins and outs of why burkinis were considered a health hazard or hygiene hazard before, but for me, I just see this benefit of this is one step extra that is getting women from being stuck in those four walls, which is ordinarily what Islam does tell them to do, and where it keeps them. If this is allowing them to partake and be part of that family and these memories, France can let it slide, even in the name of their Republican ideals or whatever, because as you said, by the same standards, a topless woman has the very same rights. So, why the hell not? I think that's a healthy ground. And for me, when Muslim women are out there having a good time, I'm winning. Because it's not because of Islam that they're able to enjoy themselves. It's despite Islam, they are able to enjoy themselves. And that's what's important. Do you see that distinction? That's a really important distinction. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's the reason why a lot of people made that argument. They said that if you, for example, in India and Karnataka, if you say that these burqa clad or these hijabi girls are not allowed to study, then who's going to suffer at the end of it? Those girls would be forced to stay at home. These girls now, in hot summer days, swimming is something that is it's a recreational activity. It's something
bloody good for you. It's exercise. It's healthy. It's therapeutic. It releases endorphins. It stretches every muscle in your body. There's so many benefits.
It improves the quality of your life. You get to get out of your house and daily activities. However, people need that. We know that, and we actually know this more than ever now, because during the pandemic, how many people felt you know, the mental health went downhill because of
Yeah.
isolation. So now you're forcing women to stay at home because, sorry, we're not going to allow you to wear your burkini or your hijab. So they stopped going out. And I actually saw one of these videos, and those women were genuinely happy. They were cheering, and they were like, so I was like, you know what? These poor women, you know, like for whatever reason, they just couldn't go, and we can't force. You know, sometimes I've said it before. If people think that their chains are their ornaments, then you
Jewels.
can't
Yeah.
really force them to think otherwise. You have to educate them and let it be. If they change, they change, and let's hope the next generation will change. So I reckon that's a good decision. I never supported this.
Yeah, no, I think again, because of the depravity of Islam when it comes to women, like again, I have issues with the source of it, right? Like I definitely have issues with the source of it, right? You know that, like we will always call out the reasons behind why we think the hijab is a horribly like toxic, misogynistic, like it's chains of slavery for women, okay, to put it lightly, in terms of everything it represents, and in that includes the psyche and what it does to women psychologically. I'm trying to talk about, as well as eroding them like physically and from society, trying to kind of homogenize women as if they're like a cattle of like a flock of sheep or something. But when it comes to things like this, the same issues that I'd have with a burkini also apply. They're the same issues I'd have with hijab. Fundamentally, I think the concept is wrong and it's flawed, and it doesn't stem from a very emancipated, empowered place. But again, what does Islam tell women to do? Stay at home, stay within the confines of your four walls, have children, don't refuse your husband's sex. The angels are going to curse you all night. You're entitled to half of whatever your, brothers are going to get. You're stupid anyway. You're probably going to end up in hell. All of that is on you. So if these women can go out and have a swim and make memories with their families, France can do that in the name of secularism without compromising their position, because they're also giving a free pass to nudists or, the topless people who like that side of the equation. So it's you've got both options. You just choose whatever fits your style. But anything where women are put back into the public domain with men in a mixed co-ed environment is a win for me, because Islam keeps them away. Anything that gives them that exercise of right and power and enjoyment and fulfillment and equality, even if it's in the form of a misogynistic piece of clothing for them to swim in, it's okay. If you like these videos and want to support me in my activism, then you can support me on Patreon or PayPal. Stay free, everyone.